All right, another week has arrived and it's football time. Welcome to Buc What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Super Heavyweight. You follow me, I'll follow you back. And I'm joined tonight by my esteemed colleagues, Rick Brown, who writes for today's Pigskin. Rick, how you doing today?
All right, Gene, how's it going, my man?
All right, man. It's football.
Isn't that the case? That is all right.
Yeah. So, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
Definitely. What's happening, folks? My name is Rick Brown. You can find me on Twitter at RickBrown91. Also, read my stuff at todayspigskin.com, where I'm talking about the Tampa Bay Bucks. And every now and then I'll throw in a little bone to the NFL.
All right. And I'm also joined tonight by Michael Pless. Michael writes for Real Bucks Talk. I've had him on quite a bit. You know, we talked a lot during the draft, and he's got a great football mind, and I'm just glad to have you on. Michael, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm great, man. Bucks fans, you can follow us at Real Bucks Talk. Follow us on Facebook as well. If you ever get a chance, check us out, realbuckstalk.blogspot.com. And we just love talking Buccaneers football and trying to put out a different perspective on things.
All right. So, fellas, looks like we have the San Francisco 49ers coming up. And we do have a quarterback to keep an eye on in Colin Kaepernick. I know for a while we had Blaine Gabbert, and that was the starter. And you kind of thought that's who the Buccaneers were going to face. But here we are. Time is here, and we're looking at Colin Kaepernick as the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. So, Rick, I'm going to start with you. What are your three keys to the game, to winning, for the Bucs winning the game against the San Francisco 49ers?
Well, Gene, the first thing that they have to do, they cannot turn the ball over offensively. If they do, they are in trouble. San Francisco is the second best scoring. They're second best scoring off of turnovers in the league. I think with 48 points. I think Denver had more entering this week. So they cannot turn the ball over. They need to establish a running game. Even though a lot for the Bucks against Carolina, the 37 rushes against 30 passes, that's the balance that any NFL team will want. And Dirk Cutter was right. The Bucks should have won by more than what they did. So, but it started with the run game.
Right. And while we're on the subject, before we get to your third point, we know that Doug Martin is out, and he kind of had a setback with his recovery time for that hamstring injury. So what have the Bucs gone out and done to improve that running game from what we've been seeing with Doug Martin being out?
Well, right now they're relying on Jacquizz Rodgers, and what Quezzy did, what he is like a miniature Doug Martin with better hands. So while he doesn't, he might not get the explosive runs, or he did last week when he carried 30 times, guys, a career high, and also the 101 yards was a career high. But that also tells you that he's always been the number two back. And so that tells you are still missing something with Doug. But they have him. They also brought in Antoine Smith. Dirk knew him. He's former Florida State running back, and also he was with the Falcons under Dirk. So he knows the offense, so it knows the basically he knows the base of the offense. Maybe some terminology has changed, but the concepts are all the same. So that's definitely it's the key though. They still have Peyton Barber on the practice squad, I believe. So, but they still have to establish their run game. They have to.
Yeah.
So
and your third and to your third point, what would be your third point as far as keys to victory?
All right, the third one, Robert Aguayo, make your kicks. I just think make the first kick. He makes that first kick, everything, no nerves, no anxiety, and nothing like that happens to the Buccaneers. So, Robert Aguayo, you're my third pick. Keys to victory.
All right. And Michael, gonna go to you with the same questions. What are your 3 keys to victory for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and what are your thoughts on some of the moves that they've made?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much going to agree with what Rick said. I think the number one key is protecting the football. We have to win the turnover battle. I think Jameis just needs to let the offense come to him and take what's there on defense. And then I would say second key, again, we have to establish the run. I think what they need to do is just come out like they did against Carolina, and how they they came out run heavy. Started the game with 6 runs. I think because you just start that, you set the tone for the game, and I think that's what they need to do: establish that physical play. Then finally, third key, I think this is going to be critical, just keeping Colin Kaepernick in the pocket. I think that is going to be, you got to keep him in the pocket, don't let him escape, and use his legs pretty much. If we can keep him in the pocket, then I think we can force him to make some mistakes as far as throwing interceptions and things like that.
There you go. All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, as far as their moves, I think, bringing in Antoine Smith, I think that's smart, just because you have experience back there in the backfield. And I think Jacquizz Rodgers, I think he'll be fine. And I'd probably do a little bit more balance where he's not, running the ball 30 times. But again, if he's the hot hand, then you got to take advantage of it. San Francisco's run defense is not very good, so we need to attack that and establish the run game for sure.
Last in the league. You're absolutely right.
Right.
Last in the league. And another point that Michael made about keeping Colin Kaepernick inside the pocket. His numbers passing wasn't all that special. Even that long touchdown pass to Smith wasn't that great. It was underthrown. It could have been the win, whatever. But his running, he did carry 8 times for 66 yards. So that means he's still moving.
Yeah,
so
he can gash.
You have to lanes. It's critical. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. For me, I'm going to agree with you guys. The most important thing is turning over the ball. Turnovers can change how play calling is done. If you start out early and you get put in a position where the opposing offense can score off of a turnover, you've automatically put yourself in a hole and you get away from your game plan. So for the Bucs, they can't turn the ball over because that will lead to less running and more passing. And it's just the way it is. We saw what happened against the Cardinals. You saw what happened against the goodness, I'm drawing a blank. The Denver Broncos. It's just that you have to take care of the ball. That is key. And on the second part of that, everything runs through Jameis Winston. Everything does. He's the franchise quarterback, and I know that the run's important, but in order to get down and score, it's going to have to be on Jameis Winston's shoulders. So making plays is key, and making smart plays is very important. For me, the second thing is 3 and out. We want to make sure you can get the offense off the field. The defense has to do what they need to do, play discipline, and not give up big plays so we can get the opposing offense off the field. That's important too, because that, again, helps the running game. If you can get somebody 3 and out and you're winning the field position battle, that gives you more chances to run the ball, and it helps you towards winning the game. You're eating up the clock, and you're dictating the pace of the game as well. And my third one, and Rick, you stole my thunder. Roberto, got to make them kicks, bro. I love you. You won that game. You did what you needed to do. Short memory where you came back in and didn't worry about the missed kicks. Won that game. Please, all you got to do, you've done it before. Go out there and just one kick at a time and hit them kicks. So, that's important. I like what the Bucs have done. It looks like Dye is back in the fold as well. Lewis Murphy's coming off injured reserve. Shorts is coming back as well. So there's a little bit of help with the loss of Vincent Jackson, and that's something that I really wanted to touch on next. And Rick, I'm going to go to you. you've been listening, you know what's. Hold on one second. All right, sorry about that. Okay. So with the loss of Vincent Jackson, how does that change the dynamics of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Yeah, it could change it dramatically. Even though this season has been Mike Evans' breakout season for the most part, he has secured the number one. If there was any doubt coming into the season who was the number one receiver, it was erased early on the season with by Mike Evans just handling the ball. So, but one thing that might help him is that they went through it again. They went through it last year with Murphy out and V-Jax. So that'll help the younger guys. I'm interested to see Cecil Shorts. I want to know if he's more than just a third receiver. And if so, that's good. I mean, if he's an upgrade for Adams, but who's going to take the number 2 slot? I don't know.
So with Humphreys, how do you feel like Humphreys has done up to this point in the season? How do you feel that he's come in as the third receiver, or at that time as a third receiver?
Yeah, he's done okay. I think after preseason and early on, I think some of our expectations may have gotten higher, but he is who he is. He's a solid third down receiver who's going to catch the ball, and if with a little help can make plays.
Yeah, there we go.
Consistent guy, but he's going to have to step up as well.
Absolutely.
He's going to have to prove.
Yep. Peter Blake, welcome to the show, my friend.
What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Doing good.
How do I sound?
Sound great.
All right, good to go.
All right, I'm gonna hit Michael. I'm gonna hit Michael up with the same question. Michael, let me get your thoughts on that. With the loss of Vincent Jackson, how did the Bucs overcome that?
I mean, it's going to be tough. Vincent Jackson is such a leader, especially on the field and off the field. He has a huge presence in that locker room. I think they're just going to have to be more creative as far as offense goes. I think they're going to have to find ways to get singled up, find ways to move him around, use him in the slot, use him formations, whether it's bunch packages or trips. Find ways to get him single coverage so he can take advantage. Right. But as far as
Peter, I wanted to hit you with the same question. With the loss of Vincent Jackson, how do the Bucs overcome that? What do you think? What would be one of your thoughts as far as with the personnel that they have now? How do you overcome the loss of a Vincent Jackson?
Well, it's going to be tough. You're going to have to depend on these tight ends. Cameron Brate's going to have to come up big. Mike Evans may be double and triple teamed. So the question is, who's going to be the guy that's going to step up? Is it going to be Adam Humphreys? Is it going to be Dante Dye? Dante Dye's got the speed out of the whole bunch. So you would hope that he's more consistent, because last year there was many opportunities that he left on the field and it really cost the Buccaneers. So right now it's going to be tough. Cecil Shorts is a guy that may have to step up, and he has the experience to do that. So I'm getting a little bit of feedback here, guys. Sorry about that.
No worries. All right. So, we talked a little bit about the offense here, and Rick, from what you've been seeing this week, I don't know, have you been to any practices?
I have.
I'd like to get your input as far as what you've seen in practice, and I know with Louis Murphy coming back, that's somebody that I've been kind of curious. How has his recovery been? And will he be at 100% when he finally sets foot on the field?
The second part is easy. No, he will not be 100%, but he will. He has no risk of re-injuring the knee, not just by stepping out on the field. So
okay. Now,
he's going to be okay.
Is he going to be an upgrade over what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers currently have right now? Will he be an upgrade at some position based on? Yeah, I know it's practice and it's not the same thing as live bullets, but do you see him as a potential upgrade to come in and really help Jameis Winston to stretch the ball down the field?
Potentially, yeah, but we haven't seen it yet. So until we see it, who really knows?
Okay, all right.
We have to be realistic.
Yeah,
we have to be realistic about it.
I mean, we're right now. We're 2-3. The Bucs are 2-3, and you kind of have to scale back your expectations a little bit. And keep in mind they're still in the playoff hunt. Whether people want to talk about it or not, the Buccaneers are still in the playoff hunt with the Atlanta Falcons losing, with the Carolina Panthers in disarray, and then you have the New Orleans Saints who are slowly but surely coming up the field. There to possibly make a push at that if they can eke out some of these wins here. Michael,
let's not talk about playoffs.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, in the grand scheme of things, I mean, now where the Bucs are.
But Gene, I love you to death, bro. But get to 500 first,
right?
And let's see. Let's see how win a home game.
Yeah.
Get to 500, win a home game.
Yeah.
And then let's see what happens. This after 5 games, I'm not even convinced that the Cowboys are going to make the playoffs. So I'm just,
you make a valid point. You make a valid point,
Pete. I mean, for real. I mean, Mike, it's somebody.
Peter, help me out here. You're
man. I'm a knock Spite out.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go.
There he is.
No, that's Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. Playoffs. Let's take it easy now. Let's get back to 3-3. Let's focus on that. And Rick is right. We got to win at home. We have 3 home games coming up, so let's win a home game first. That's going to be most important.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, focus on getting back to 500.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we were talking about injuries. We're talking about the injury report. Peter, are you back on? Okay, I still can't hear you. Okay. All right.
Just shoot Pete.
We're gonna have to put him through a table. I'm stun him through a table. You jabroni, get your stuff.
Can we get a 3D with him? I mean, I wanted to.
No, it's really exciting. We got Gerald McCoy. Gerald McCoy looks like he was practicing, correct?
He was limited. He was limited, but he's gonna play. I'll be shocked if he didn't play.
Okay, what about Clinton McDonald?
He practiced today. I think he wants to play, but it's a hamstring. Now, if it's not torn, hamstrings are weird. Lovie Smith always 4 weeks. Looks like Dirk Cutter is 4+.
Yeah.
So, no, the Cecil's come back in 4 weeks, so we'll see.
Yeah. So, Pete, you back on? No, okay. All right.
Hey, man, log out and come back in, Pete.
Yeah. So, back to the game. I wanted to talk to you again about matchups and how do the Tampa Bay Buccaneers match up against the San Francisco 49ers? Mike, I'm gonna start with you. I don't want you to feel neglected, bro. We just I don't want you to feel left out, man. You're not the stepchild here, okay? Just jump in and feel free to jump in when you feel like somebody's out of line. So, just kind of talking about the matchups. I wanted to get your take on that.
Yeah, I think we match up pretty well. I mean, San Francisco is not the greatest team. I mean, this team has lost 4 in a row. They just got blown out by. So, I think we have the right matchups. Like I said, our offensive line I think is one of our strengths, and I think we need to utilize them and pound the rock. On defense, I think we'll be fine. I think let our secondary, go man to man against the receivers. Maybe double Torrey Smith if he plays. And again, just keep doing what you're doing. Stop the run the football, protect it, and we have a pretty good chance of winning every game. So, that's the keys.
And have we heard what kind of injury Torrey Smith has? I know he's been limited in practice. Do we know what happened to him?
I believe.
Give me a
it's
second.
back. I believe it's a back injury, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So he could miss. I know Carlos Hyde is out. He's going to be missing this game. So that's a bonus for us. It's just stopping that run, make them, don't let you get beat over top, Don't allow the big play. I think that's the key on defense. But I think we match up pretty well. I think we have the playmakers. We got speed. On both sides we can match up with them. So I think we can take advantage, especially of their defensive line. They're a little bit long up front. Get underneath them and push them off the ball.
So based on what you've seen from 49ers, what do you think about their pass rush? Do you think that that could present a problem for Jameis Winston, and could it present a problem for the running game?
Yeah, I mean, they have some good pass rushers. I mean, their first-round pick, DeForest Buckner, is pretty good. He had 2 sacks last week. So, and then they have a couple other guys, Eric Armstead. So they're just big and long. They have both of them are about 6'7". So they present some some difficult matchups. But I think we have the guys that can push him back, especially Ali Marpet. I think he can pretty much handle his own up front, especially with Kevin Panfil as well, who's been playing outstanding.
Yeah.
I think we match up just fine. I mean, as far as a pass rush, I don't think we should be too concerned. I think we'll go probably max protection on most downs and just utilize Cameron Brate and utilize Mike Evans as much as we can. But I think it starts with the running game. That's their weakness.
Yeah. All right. And Rick, I want to ask you this pretty much the same thing. How do you feel that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers match up? Because you are the voice of reality on this show right now.
Oh, see, there you go. See, I wasn't trying to start anything. I was just saying. I was just saying here. But no, real talk. Agree with Mike. In the sense that I think the Lions will determine this game. And what scares me is Colin is probably going to be the first back not counting RG3, but mobile quarterback. And that scares me how undisciplined that defensive line has been at times, getting out of rush lanes and getting gashed by running backs. So if they slip with Colin, it could be yarded out the first down. But my question, Mike, I want to hear this. Do you take a shot at him? Do you hit him? Do you make him pay for leaving that pocket? That's what the old school Bucs would have done. They make you pay. So I mean, Colin, I love him to death, but if he gets out there on that wing, does a Levante David? That's who I like to see. But he's not the mean guy.
Yeah.
Darryl Smith coming just boom.
I think, yeah, you're definitely right. I think what we should do is probably have a QB spy pretty much the whole game. I would expect Quan Alexander or Levante David just to have watch them all the time and pretty much just do a man-on-man, like they used to do with Michael Vick back in the heyday with Derek Brooks. Just do a quarterback spy and move. And when he leaves that pocket, yeah, you go up and attack him and you hit him hard. You take a shot at him for sure.
All right.
Within the lines, of course.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we talked a lot about Colin Kaepernick, and we know that Hyde is not going to be playing in this game. Who else does Tampa have to look for? What can you tell the listeners to look for with the San Francisco 49ers? Who should they look out for that, maybe could give the Bucs some issues?
I'll go quick. If Torrey Smith is healthy, he scares me because he can burn. And I don't like Tampa Bay's corners with burners, not as primary receivers.
Right. Hey, Peter, you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. And I want to get you involved. I want to get you involved here too, so I don't have to put you through a table. So, so I'm going to ask you the same thing, man.
Okay.
How did the Tampa, in your opinion, how do the Tampa Bay Buccaneers match up against the San Francisco 49ers? And what do you see anybody that kind of stands out as somebody that Tampa or the fans could talk about that Tampa should look out for? Besides, I know Torrey Smith was mentioned and DeForest Buckner was mentioned as well.
Yeah, not really anybody for San Francisco 49ers, because this is a team that gave up 300 yards and rushing to the Buffalo Bills. So offensively, it's Colin Kaepernick and everybody else. I mean, Colin Kaepernick has been put out there with no weapons. He's not a good quarterback in the first place. You could see that last week when the Buffalo Bills forced him to throw from the pocket. So if you contain Kaepernick in that pocket and force him to beat you with his throws, I think the Buccaneers are in for a good week, actually. And I think, them being healthy defensively with Gerald McCoy and Robert Ayers and Noah Spence hopefully being back, I think is an advantage. On the offensive side of the ball, I think you're going to see a lot of Jacquizz Rodgers for the Buccaneers, because you saw that against the Panthers. And that's the way to go. They have to be balanced. So overall, I think this matchup favors the Bucs. And you were talking about playoffs. Look, it's not a far-reaching possibility, but Rick Brown is completely right. Since 2008, ever since they fired John Gruden, 17-41 at home. So they're going to have to start winning home games fast. They have to take care of business versus the San Francisco 49ers. But after that, 3 home games, and you got to feel good about your chances. But once again, it goes back to the point. You got to start winning home games and in order to even be considered a playoff team at this point.
All right, and I want to ask you, because I've asked everybody else, what are your 3 keys to victory for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the 49ers?
Number 1 key is balance. You're going to have balance to that offense. It worked last week. I mean, this is the way this offense runs. This is how successful they were last year. They have to get back to it. It was a perfect sound game plan versus the Carolina Panthers, but they didn't take advantage of it. They should have more points. They should have won by at least 10 to 15 points over the Carolina Panthers. My number 2 point would be, once again, the defense has to contain Colin Kaepernick. Keep him in the pocket. Force him to beat you. And then the 3rd key, win the turnover war. If you don't turn over the ball versus the San Francisco 49ers and you play a balanced attack offense, you should win this game by 10 to 15 points. Fellas, we watched it last week. When they didn't turn over the ball, they were much better off. They won the turnover battle. So in saying that, I think those are my 3 keys versus the San Francisco 49ers. And again, guys, I expect him to win this game and win this game pretty easily.
When have they done anything easily?
You know what? There's always a first time for everything. With all the distractions off the field with Colin Kaepernick and the Buccaneers being able to have 2 weeks to prepare for this quarterback, I think they're going to be better off. And Chip Kelly, you think about it. I'll answer your question, Rick Brown, and this is my point. The last time the Buccaneers did something easily was versus the Philadelphia Eagles and Chip Kelly's offense, where they completely dominated him last year. That's why I think they'll do it this year.
Yeah, there we go. So I forgot about the chip. I kind of forgot about the chip ship. But
that's why I'm Peter Blake, giving you something to think about on the only F1 sports talk show in the Tampa Bay area from 3 to 5 on Saturday afternoons, the Sports Web. Bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense. Whether it's a computer breaking down, it doesn't matter. I'll do it off my freaking cell phone. I'll do it from my bathroom. I'll do it from a telephone booth. This is what we do on Buc What You Heard.
That's right. So, so Peter,
yes.
Any other thoughts on, as far as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as a whole? We've got a lot of people that are coming back from injury and being healthy. Is there anybody that stands out to you that can really help this team that's come back from injury?
Again, I think it's Cecil Shorts, because he has that he has that experience factor. He's been in that dirt cutter offense. He's an experienced wide receiver. Adam Humphries has been in this system, but he's not as experienced as Shorts. Dante Dye is too inconsistent, but he has the speed threat. So to me, Cecil Shorts will help them out. Lewis Murphy, if you can get anything out of him, would be great. But again, I think they have to get back to being what they are and what your bread and butter, as Sean, the sports don, would say on the sports web. What butters your bread is your running game. And whether it's Doug Martin or Charles Sims, which it looks like it's not going to be either one of those guys, or Jacquez Rogers or Antoine Smith, you have to run the ball. You have to have balance to your offense, because you don't want to make your offense one-dimensional. You don't want to put Jameis Winston in those situations where he has to throw the ball over 30 times a game, because guess what, fellas? When he throws the ball over 30 times a game, I believe he only has one win in his career. Numbers don't lie. Stats may be for losers, but numbers don't lie. And at the end of the day, they have to be a balanced attack. And saying that, my two thoughts would be this. Vincent Jackson is done. It's time to turn the page. I feel bad, but you know what? Vincent Jackson for the year only had 12 catches, so he wasn't getting the separation in the first place. And I happen to think that his knee injury was the problem. He may have not been injured, but he's not all the way back. So it's time to turn the page. And saying that, I would look at Alshon Jeffrey and Michael Floyd. Michael Floyd is a unique name. He's having a down year, but he's familiar with Jason Light. And Alshon Jeffrey, do I even have to tell you what he could do?
Are you saying for next year? Next year, or try to trade?
No. Not try to trade. You do what you can this year with this offense, but next year in free agency, you need to back up the Brinks trucks and go for Alshon Jeffrey. He's a number 1 wide receiver, and yes, he has some hamstring troubles. Yeah. But can you imagine Alshon Jeffrey on one side and Mike Evans on the other? It's scary.
Yeah,
it really is.
It could be. It could be. But that's next year.
I'm gonna kind of bring us.
Now.
I'm gonna bring us back to Sunday here.
Well, I'm just saying. You asked me for my thoughts. Another thought that I had in my head, thinking of next year, because I don't think the season's over with. But Doug Martin with another injury to him, if the Buccaneers have an opportunity to draft a running back next year, and I'll put this down, draft Dalvin Cook. Go out, address the free agency with wide receivers, and draft Dalvin Cook. Because
I thought you got him in Charles Sims.
But Charles Sims has shown, Rick, that he's not the every down back. He's shown it, right? You get a Dalvin Cook, he's the closest thing to Ward done. He has that chemistry with Jameis Winston. I mean, what do you have to lose?
I don't want to see this become Florida State South. No.
Well,
You're
guys,
such a hater, Rick Brown. You're such a hater.
It has nothing to do with that.
Getting back to the game on Sunday.
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. Let me just address the Alshon Jeffrey and Michael Floyd. Those are two good options, but I don't think they're going to go that route. I think they're going to, again, it's all about the draft. You got to address your needs in the draft, and that's where you get your star players. And it's going to be loaded at the wide receiver position. You get a guy like John Ross or a Corey Davis to the field and complement Mike Evans a little bit more. Alshon Jeffrey is good, but I don't see him going that route, paying a lot of money for a receiver.
Yeah.
I think it worked out 4 years ago with Vincent Jackson. It worked out pretty good. So, and he's a proven commodity. You got to help your rookie quarterback out or your second-year quarterback out. You got to help your franchise quarterback out.
He will be the third year when he comes.
Right, his third year. So, and what does he have? I mean, let's not make the mistake.
But you need that. I mean, your young guy, Stamkos, Latavier.
Right.
They were given their captaincy early.
Sure.
And they still had to grow into the role.
I agree.
So why not? I mean,
it's
time for Mike Evans to take that mantle.
Considering where we are right now, we have Mike Evans as our number 1 receiver, and then everybody else that you're hoping somebody will step up and make some plays.
Right.
And I think where it all starts with, and I want to go back to this again. I want to sound like a broken record. Turnovers are key. We cannot turn the ball over. One of the guys listening right now, Robert Green, made a good point about stop putting the defense in bad positions and putting them behind the 8 ball.
Right.
And, that's kind of what we've seen in the big losses that the Bucs have had. Turnovers have played a key part and it's been in a bad part of the field where they've had issues trying to stop the offense, and that changes the play calling. As I mentioned that earlier in the show, you have a turnover and the other team scores, and then you're down by 2 touchdowns. You kind of have to abandon the run sometimes and work to get back in the game. So the incompletions and just the turnovers are a big problem, and it's something that they really need to keep a handle on.
But again, I think it goes back to the running game. I mean, you look at it, the first game they were balanced, even though they weren't successful. You have to make a defense respect you, and you have to make them respect the running game. You have to make a commitment to it. And if you have no commitment and you come out and be one-dimensional, then you're in big trouble. So I'm looking at it from this standpoint. I think if they stay with that game plan of running Jacquez Rogers or Antoine Smith or whoever's behind there, I think they're going to be fine. Just making the commitment, because look, if you make the commitment, this is how football is related to marriage. If you make the commitment to it, then the linebackers have to respect you. They have to respect your offense, and if they respect your offense, guess what? Those linebackers come up. Jameis Winston goes pass play action down the field. It sets up those deep passes that Dirk Cutter and this offense like. So make a commitment, you get respect. There you go. There's my marriage analogy for sports. Now, I'm saying that, going back to what you said about the draft, you're exactly right. Steven Stamkos, Rick Brown, there have been young players. But for me, this ownership and being as bipolar as it is, okay, and knowing what we know, you got to win now. So I say invest those draft picks into a cornerback or into a safety or into a defensive tackle, because once again, Gerald McCoy is hurt. He's a premier player when he's healthy, but you need depth at that position. I say if you have an opportunity to go out and get a 26-year-old like Jeffrey, who's a proven commodity that will help your offense right away, got to go for it.
Rick Brown, I want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I see both sides, as I always do.
And
at this time,
have you on the sports web.
well, but by the time we start getting serious about it after the season is over, I know you guys you have to project that.
Yes.
But right now, I'm like the coaches and the players. I'm in the moment. I have to live for San Francisco. Yeah, I know it's on the horizon, and I'm not putting it off.
Right.
But I am putting it off a little bit because my focus has to be this week.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they've learned it yet, but they're getting a lesson on it. They're getting a good lesson on it. So we'll see. We'll see. But look, I promise you, Gene, before the draft, when we do this before the draft, I had the answer. Right, Spider? Right, Emma? Spider?
You always do. I mean, you had Vernon Hargraves nailed. You're one of the only guys in the Tampa Bay area that said.
Thank you. I was going to say
Hargraves is going to be. I was saying Joey Bosa and other players. You said Vernon Hargraves, so I bowed down to you, my friend, because you are the man. You're Mr. Buzz. That's why you're on my show on Saturday afternoons on the Tan Talk Sports Network. And saying that, going back to the San Francisco game, this is a winnable game. They need to win these type of games. And with Colin Kaepernick and how he struggled last week versus a very good Bills defense. But make no mistake about it, this Buccaneer defense played pretty well versus the Carolina Panthers without Gerald McCoy, with a hurt Noah Spence, without Robert Ayers. Now how are they going to play with those players back? So, you know what? I think this defense gets better throughout the year. I think they start not making those mistakes. They start putting that stuff behind them. They start to learn this system. They start to be more comfortable. And again, the main key for me is to contain Colin Kaepernick and get after him, force him to beat you. I don't think you can do it because he doesn't have the weapons. Torrey Smith, how old is Torrey Smith? What is he, 130 years old? I mean, that guy's over the hill. There's not a receiver that scares you with the San Francisco 49ers.
Torrey Smith doesn't scare you?
I don't know about that, man.
Let's go check him. Let's go check Torrey Smith.
Torrey Smith does not scare me, and I'll tell you why. He doesn't have that speed threat. He's not going to stretch the field. He's not
going to what? Okay.
He's he's a nice possession receiver, but as far as a guy that's going to scare you and you have the game plan for him, I'm not. Calvin Benjamin last week scared me more than Torrey Smith, and this.
You may be right. You may be right. You could be right.
You put Vernon Hargraves on him and you let him go one-on-one. I think that's the key. Just let him do that.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. So it's time for the rookie to step up.
Yeah.
It's time for the rookie to be the number one guy.
He stepped up against Kelvin Benjamin. I mean, he held Benjamin to 5 catches for 70 yards. I mean, that's pretty damn good for a rookie, especially with the size advantage.
Yeah. And I know that was the big knock on him in the draft.
Okay. He's been against Kelvin though.
Oh yeah,
they're both they both know each other. I mean, this is a different beast.
Sure.
This is a veteran with who could embarrass him.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy we probably worry about with the 49ers who's been successful, I think, is Jeremy Curley. And he's got cut already 2 times. He's been successful in that Chip Kelly offense, so that would be somebody that I would be concerned about. And if they put Hargraves on Smith, then you have Brent Grimes on the other side. So I feel pretty good. Again, I feel good about it. Maybe I'm a little bit optimistic, but I watched this defense last week without some key players, and I thought they played pretty well. They held their own. I mean, look, Greg Olsen got off. I don't know why this defense is not able to cover Greg Olsen for some reason, but it seems like he always has a big game. If that's linebackers, if that's safeties, whatever else it is, they got to figure that situation out at the later on in the year. But at this point with the 49ers, I only see 2 good wide receivers, and everything else on that team is unproven, and it's inconsistent. This, again, is a matchup the Buccaneers should win, and should win easily. And because that history that they have against Chip Kelly's offense, I favor them.
All right. Michael, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you're facing a 1-5 football team here. I mean, they're not well coached. I mean, they don't have much talent, from an offensive standpoint. Defensively, they're allowing, I don't know how many yards on the ground. I mean, I think it's 150 per game. They just let up 300 yards to the Bills.
1958 since they've done that.
Right. So I mean, they're clearly missing Navarro Bowman in their defense. I mean, that guy is a monster, and without him, they're going to struggle. It's definitely a matchup we should take advantage. We need to win this game. I mean, this is important. Games like this is what allows teams to team or not. It pretty much determines it. So, you can't let these games slip away. So I think definitely we need to just put our foot on the pedal and be aggressive and attack.
Hey, Gene, before you jump in, Gene, let me ask these two one more question. And I want to ask you this. I want to ask you this, Gene, as well. What do you think other teams think when they see the Buccaneers?
I think it's an easy win.
So I don't think the Bucs scare anyone.
They don't.
They have a player or two on defense. Offensively, yeah. You make Jameis make your mistakes.
Sure.
I don't know. I'll ask you guys. You don't think the other teams think when they look at the Bucs? Oh yeah, we can get back right here.
It's a
disaster.
Yeah, go ahead, Pete.
No, I think you could be on to something, but again, they have Mike Evans, who's top 10 in receptions, receiving yards, so he's definitely a weapon. You have Rodgers, who's coming off a 100-yard game. It looks like you have a team here that's kind of turned the corner. And don't forget, Mr. Rick Brown, they're 2-0 in the division. They went on the road and beat Atlanta, and they went on the road and beat Carolina on Monday Night Football with all the mistakes, all the opportunities left on the field. Yes, Carolina is not a good football team, but still, that's the Carolina Panthers who were in the Super Bowl last year. So I think right now maybe some teams are thinking, you know what, Jameis Winston last year, he had some difficulty with the turnovers. He turned it around. You're getting back Robert Ayers and Gerald McCoy. Those guys are no slouches. Yeah, you have Levante David, Quan Alexander. So I think other teams are saying, you know what, let's not take Tampa Bay so lightly because maybe they could be turning the corner. Again, that could be just me being an optimist, or it could be the fact of again, you're 2-0 and you beat tough two division opponents that the Buccaneers haven't beaten. They beat Atlanta last.
You're 0-2 at home, though. Okay.
Yeah, very true.
I mean,
and again, you're 5-10. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me say this. I mean, I think teams fear Doug Martin. You know, if Doug Martin's on the field, I think that's a threat. He's probably our best offensive player, in my opinion. So, I mean, when he's on the field, teams are going to fear him. They're going to load the box and try to stop him. It's up Jameis Winston as far as the passing game. You know, and then on defense, I think teams fear Joe McCoy. He's probably the best defensive tackle in the game when he's on the field. So, yeah, you know, from those two standpoints, I mean, that's something to fear. I think Levante David is one of the hell of a linebacker. Yeah, I mean, we have players. There's talent on this football team, but again, we got a lot of injuries. And
there's talent on every NFL team. Come on, there's talent on every NFL team. Come on.
And let's be honest. You look at the Bucs the past 3 years, and what do they have? Like maybe what, 12 wins, 10 wins?
Yeah, but you know, I'm not trying to bring y'all down.
No, you're being realistic. You're being realistic, and I am too. Yeah. Basically, what other teams, what other fan bases are looking at when they look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're like, oh wow, they had a 2-win season, which enabled them to get their franchise quarterback. They had a 6-win season, and they ended up firing their head coach. So when everybody else outside of base looks at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they don't see a team that's like, oh, they're going to come in and win. That's not what they're seeing. And that's just, you know, from talking with people from different fan bases on a regular basis. They're like, you know, who is your best player? Or who is this guy that, you know, everybody's talking about, like, you know, Levante David. So, you know, that's kind of where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are. They're at a point where they're still trying to learn how to win games.
Sure.
And, you know, that game against Carolina is one of those games that the old Tampa Bay Buccaneers team could have easily just let it get away and just kind of gave up and just said, oh, well, there's always the next game. But, you know, they're still in the process of learning how to win. And, you know, I believe they're trending in the right direction, and it's taking time. And, you know, that's kind of what I see. But, you know, this is a fan base, and anybody outside the fan base is not going to see that.
Oh, I'm a fan somewhere. I mean,
I know where you're.
I love where they're working. I mean, where they're working, that means I'm working, so that's a good thing. I mean, it's I don't know.
And let's be real honest here. As Robert Green made a great point, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should have beat the Rams. I drank a lot. I drank a lot because of that game. A lot.
Yeah.
And it didn't have to happen. I mean, seriously, and, you know, all joking aside, you take away those turnovers and it's a different game.
Yeah.
Protecting the ball and taking care of the ball, it's a different, you know, but I'm just saying.
But
it's the game. It's one of those games that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should have won. Without question.
Yeah, and you know what? You're up 20-10. You throw the ball to the flat.
Yeah.
I know it's a bad pass, but Charles Sims has to catch that ball. He doesn't. Mark Barron picks it off, and it's a different game. The momentum shifts. You miss a extra point. You miss a field goal. Those type of things come back to you. So to me, I think they should have been a 3-2 team. And I'll tell you what, people say, well, they're a 6-win team. I watched the games last year. I didn't think this team was a 6-win team. I thought they could have been a 10-win team if they put some things together. But that's neither here nor there. What I'm saying to you is, if a fan base or team takes this team lightly, you may be sadly mistaken, because I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are turning a corner. I think they're only going to get better here from the second half of the season, because they're starting to get healthy, albeit you're without Doug Martin and Vincent Jackson. But defensively, we're Robert Ayers and Gerald McCoy. Guys, I'm licking my chops here. We finally get to see these two on the field once again. And what did they do against the Atlanta Falcons?
Ayers isn't back yet, is he?
I thought he was back. He's out this week?
He hasn't practiced.
Yeah, he hasn't practiced all week.
Well, he'll be back he'll be back maybe next week or the week after. But once these two get on the field, okay, I think they're going to have a better defense. Again, I think the defense is going to get better. I'm sorry about that. I thought Ayers was back this week. So I guess they're not all the way healthy.
He's got a high ankle sprain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Yep.
Yeah, that's hard to heal, man. Those things.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know how many weeks he's been out. It seems like forever. I mean, the first game he played well, and then the second week he goes out against the Arizona Cardinals, and the defense wasn't the same. So, I mean, we know what it's all about. You have to get pass pressure. You're going to have to get pressure on the quarterback. You're going to have to put pressure in his face. But once again, even if you don't, I don't think Colin Kaepernick is going to be able to beat this defense. I don't think he's a good quarterback. He hasn't been a good quarterback the last couple of years after Jim Harbaugh left. I mean, it has
been hurt. He's been hurt.
He's been hurt, but he has not been the same quarterback. He's regressed. He's depending too much on his mobility. That has ruined him as a quarterback in the NFL. He cannot go through his first and second and third progressions. He'll go on one read, and then he'll try to run.
We haven't seen him play in over a year and a half.
That's it. I'm telling you, he was bad last week. He's going to be bad this week.
All right. Well, guys,
you know what, Rick Brown? I'll tell you what. You're a wrestling fan. I'm going to stone cold stun your ass if you keep it up.
Hey, guys, I want to kind of switch gears here. Roger Goodell was addressing the fact that viewership is down with football games. And, everybody knows my opinion of Wrong Way Roger. He's not one of my favorite football personalities out there at all, really, to be very honest. But what are your thoughts on that? Pete, I'm gonna start with you. You're the radio personality here.
Right.
What are your thoughts on why there's a drop in viewership with football games?
I will say this. I don't think it's all about the kneeling thing. I think that's been overblown. I actually think it's about the terrible matchups, okay? Parity is prevalent and not in a good way in the NFL. I mean, you look at these matchups. Tonight you have the Chicago Bears and Green Bay Packers. The Bears are a god-awful team. They're terrible. You look at the Monday night game. What was the Monday night? Arizona versus the Jets. It's the bad matchups on the primetime games. It's also maybe Thursday night football isn't as good as we thought it was. Because, look, too much of something isn't always that good. And you look at football on Thursday nights, it's not very good. The Monday night matchups are not very good. I just don't think there's compelling stories out there. You know, there's not teams that you're really looking forward to, and the matchups are not there. So I think people are trying to tell you that maybe there's too much football. It's too much oversaturation. That's the only thing I can get out of it.
All right. Michael, let me get your thoughts on the same thing. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this earlier. I think it's just, too many games are just being played. I think, again, it's, the Thursday night football, I think it's just a little too overwhelming as far as for the teams. I mean, you're on a short week, guys that are injured or banged up, and this product, I mean, it's hard to prepare for a team in, less than 3 days, 4 days. And you're not going to get the best matchup per se as far as both teams playing to their best ability. That's an issue. And as far as the Monday night game, I think it's just, again, Peter said it, as far as I think the matchups are just not there.
Yeah. And,
I mean, I think it's just too much.
Okay. And Rick Brown, let me get your thoughts. I don't know if you heard the question. I was talking about Wrong Way Roger and his looking into why the viewership is down for NFL games. Uh-oh, we lost you. We lost your sound. Let's see what happened here. Let's see if we got him back in. Uh-oh. All that moving around, all that, and Peter is, you're muted too, bro. All right, well, while these guys are trying to figure their sound thing out here, I guess I'll go in and speak on this. For me, Monday night football was always a treat. When you got to see your team on Monday night, that was always exciting. You normally have the games on Sunday. Everybody watches their respective teams. With the invention of NFL Sunday Ticket, you can watch all the games and see all these games. But Monday night was always special. And as far as I'm concerned, having a game on Monday night and then there's another game on Thursday night, That's a little bit much. And I think it really needs to go back to one game throughout the regular part of the week, whether it's a Monday night game or a Thursday night game. But having that one game makes it special. When you have another game in there, to me, it kind of delegitimizes this because you have a Monday night game and you have a Thursday night game. So it just kind of takes away from the luster of, having that game during the regular part of the week. So I'm going to go back to you, Pete. Can we hear you now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. All right. So
I think that's what it's all about. And, I guess we're having some technical difficulties on your end, Michael's end, Rick's end. Rick just joined the call. But, I just think, overall, it is the matchups. I don't think it's necessarily the protest. And maybe Roger Goodell should step back along with the owners and say, you know what, we need to do what's best for the game. And what's best for the game is maybe not to have Thursday night games. Maybe it's not to have those god-awful uniforms that make you blind when you look at the television set. I mean, they just hurt your eyes. They make people, if you're blind, you're definitely going to be more blind looking at those uniforms. All kidding aside, you know what? I think it's the matchups, and again, it's too many games, and they're thinking about extending it to a 20-game season. I think that's ridiculous. They got to step back. They got to look at this. It's oversaturation by the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rick, now can we hear you now? No, Rick.
Wow.
Sorry, Rick. I think Rick is caught. Oh, there we go. There we go.
There you go, Rick.
Finally.
There's Michael. Michael's there, but he's not showing up.
Hey, listen. Yeah. The mic is there. He's fine. Hey, but on seriously, I don't look at. Yes, the Thursday night game was horrible. I agree with that. But could it just be that the NFL has been setting records, and viewerships and all of this? Because the market is just saturated.
Yeah.
I mean, it has leveled off.
Sure.
And so, of course, you're not going to be great every year.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean that they're doing horribly. I mean, yeah, the matchups has been bad, but you got to set those in advance. So it is what it is on that. But I just think there's so many platforms. So people aren't watching, but they could still be listening. They could still be on their, I don't know if they have their, I bet you their digital and tablet viewerships are up.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'd be curious to see what Twitter's doing because I know they're having the Thursday night game on Twitter as well.
Another way to get the game.
Sure.
So I just think I don't think it's as bad as it's not doom and gloom. The NFL is still doing what they're doing, and the owners are still making that case.
Yeah, I think people are still watching Green Bay and the Bears. As bad of a matchup as it is, they're still probably watching that game over the Cubs and the Dodgers, unless, of course, you're a Dodger fan and a Cub fan, which I am. I'm a Cub fan, and I hope they win tonight. Last check, they were winning 1-0, but I don't know. I haven't seen the game. But, yeah, I think they're going to still do better than baseball. I think they're still going to do better than basketball. I think the NFL is king. They're not going to go out of business. It could be the safety rules. It could be the fact that the rules, some people want more aggression in the game, and they're not going to have it out of the, out of the care for the players, because there are a lot of players that have concussions that are suffering from the physicality of the game 20 years back. The rules have changed now, so it's not as aggressive as it used to be. And maybe that's turned some people off. So maybe it could be the style of play. It could be a lot of factors. But again, I think it comes down to the terrible matchups. I mean, did you see the matchup on Sunday night? It was a good game, but the first 3 quarters, I could have fell asleep and woke up and watched the last 2 minutes. That was the most exciting part of the game. The last 2 minutes with the Colts and the Texans. Are you serious?
Sounds like an NBA game.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, you got to change these matchups, and sometimes the NFL thinks they can outthink it, and they think they're going to, kind of trick people and recreate the will, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. They thought the Colts and the Texans would be a good matchup. It really wasn't. It would turn out to be a good game, but the first 3 quarters were god awful. I mean, this is god awful football, man.
Would you rather see a great? Well, I guess never mind.
No, go ahead. Ask the question, Mr. Buzz. Come on.
No.
Well, I do want to jump in. One more thing, because it's all we've already been on for hours. Hard to believe that, but one more thing I kind of want to touch on. Not Bucs related, but it is related to the NFL. How do you view the New York Giants and the Commissioner Roger Goodell, Mr. Law and Order, and how they handled this abuse situation? I remember, we've had heated conversations. Me and Peter, we've had heated conversations about Ray Rice. Here we are with another player that spent I think, what did he get, a 1-game suspension or something like that?
Garbage.
Yeah. What are you guys' thoughts? I know you guys. I respect your opinions. Mike, I'm gonna start with you because you've been very, very quiet, and I'm sorry that this is happening.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I mean, as far as their, I think they just need to come down a little bit harder. I mean, especially with the serious offenses here, especially domestic abuse or women abuse or any kind of abuse. I mean, that's serious crime there. I mean,
and this guy admitted it. He admitted it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and they go harder on guys, for smoking a little bit of pot or marijuana. And they let this guy just get a 1-game suspension. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Hey,
I mean, it shouldn't happen.
Here's the kicker. Here's the kicker right here. Ray Rice is still not playing. This guy got re-signed.
Yeah, it's just blows my mind. I mean, and it just doesn't show a good message as far as to who watches the game. And these guys are supposed to be role models and have that. I mean, you got to send a message the right way and really bring down the hammer to say so.
Yeah. Peter, your thoughts, because I know that you're Mr. Law and Order. You're Mr. Law and Order on the sports web. What are your thoughts there, Mr. Law and Order?
Well, I would say that the gavel needs to be thrown down on Josh Brown as well as it was on Ray Rice, but it's consistent with the NFL, isn't it, guys? I mean, Roger Goodell, does he really care about domestic abuse? And with him not suspending Josh Brown only 1 game, it just tells you if TMZ or the PR for this whole case were like Ray Rice, you would see this guy out of the league, blackballed, blacklisted. He wouldn't be allowed in the league. But this just tells you how much the NFL cares about domestic abuse. And again, it cannot be tolerated in the NFL. I'm not going to suspend a guy if he smokes pot for more games than somebody that beats his wife. That is ridiculous. So Roger Goodell and the owners, if you put out here that you want to take a stand on domestic abusers, then do it. Josh Brown should be suspended for 6 games. In fact, I'll tell you what, he should be suspended for the year. Because not only did he lie to the NFL, okay, but he only got a 1-game suspension. So I double it up. I take a stand against this guy. I make him an example. So then if somebody else did this, they would understand that the NFL is serious about domestic abuse because this stuff is garbage. It can't be one way and not the other. Ray Rice and Greg Hardy can't be suspended for an extended period of time, and you have a kicker that just admitted to it. Roger Goodell should have got on the phone and said, Josh Brown, collect your playbook, get out, you're suspended. And we're talking about this on a month where the NFL is supposedly caring about breast cancer and supposedly caring about advertising to women. What are you telling the women out there that watch the NFL when you only suspend Brown for 1 game? You're not telling them much. So Roger Goodell and all the owners need to come together, and they need to make an example out of domestic abusers. It cannot be tolerated. And I can't say any more than that. It absolutely upsets me that this guy is not suspended for a year by now. It's unbelievable.
Rick Brown.
Where's the outrage? I mean, I heard a little bit in Pete's voice, but where's the outrage? We get all bent out of shape about a man kneeling down doing a national anthem, but
peacefully,
this man is beating his daggone wife.
20 times.
20 where's the outrage? That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't want to end on such a negative note. So, guys, I'm going to give everybody a chance to plug your respective entity, as I'll put it. And just tell everybody what you're doing. Next article. Michael, I'm going to start with you. Michael, you win the prize for the quietest guest tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you can follow us at Real Bucs Talk. We run a blog there, just talking Bucs football every day. We're going to be, over the next couple of days, just breaking down more 49ers and Buccaneers. So, but yeah, check us out. I mean, we just try to present something different each and every day. Really talk about things that you guys, don't really see, all the time with the media. So we just try to present something a little different to players and to the general managers thinking, trying to predict what they're going to do next.
All right. Yeah, guys, if you get a chance, please check them out. Real Bucs Talk, great blog. I like it. I subscribe to it. So something new comes out, I check it out. Peter Blake.
Yes, sir. I need to get Michael on my show sometime because it's an absolutely great blog. If you're not checking it out, if you're not reading it, what are you reading? Besides, of course, Rick Brown on Today's Pigskin. Okay, you should both read those. Read everything you can read because if you read, you get more intelligent about football. But in saying that, make sure you listen to the only FM sports talk show in the Tampa Bay area from 3 to 5 on the Tan Talk Sports Network, the Sports Web. Bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense. It's the evolution of sports talk radio, and the reason why we called that, we give our fans opportunities to call in twice. We give you your own walk-up music. We treat you like a superstar, and we don't hang up on you like those other sports talk shows do. Saturday afternoons from 3 to 5 on 106.1 FM, tantalknetwork.com, tantalk1340.com. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about.
And Rick Brown, Mr. Today's Pigskin. Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
Yes, definitely holler at me on Twitter at RickBrown91. I love talking. I love to debate. I love to get you thinking about something else. I love it. So thank you. Follow me there. Also at todayspigskin.com. Under Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I talk a lot of junk about the Buccaneers, but I try to watch it. I try to keep it.
He does keep it balanced, and you do keep it balanced. I appreciate that. And of course, I am Gene. You can reach me at Super Heavyweight on Twitter. Follow me here on YouTube and give me some likes. I enjoy the comments. If I get your comment in time, I'll put it on, while we're on here live. And I really appreciate everybody that's checking us out. Great show, great guests, great guys tonight. Everybody had something good to say, and I really appreciate that. Go Bucs! I'm hoping the Bucs win on Sunday. It's going to be a good game, and we're all happy that football's here because you know what? In a few months, it won't be.
And another thing, everybody had technical difficulties tonight, so that's how you know that we're all on the same page. We got this synergy here. Everybody had technical difficulties, but you know what? We put on a hell of a show tonight. So it was always good to join you, Mr. Gene and Rick Brown and Michael, who's very quiet in the background. I can't see your face. I can't see Gene. You guys are both like in a cave or something.
No, yeah,
hopefully,
I'm right.
I can't see you, Gene. You're like you're blacked out here, and Michael, he's not even showing up. So you guys are there, but hopefully we get to see you guys.
You got to get together and get you a computer for Christmas then, because you can't see us.
I'm telling you, man. It's taking abuse. I'm on my cell phone right now, and it's taking an abuse.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming on tonight, and that's it for us. Be sure to check out the game and get your thoughts together for next week, and we'll do this again. Everybody have a good night.